All right, so let's dive into a story that
All right.
might surprise you. Um, Imagine, a tropical paradise,
Right.
a kingdom with a rich history and culture,
Yeah.
suddenly just erased from the map.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened in Hawaii in the late 19th century.
Right.
We're going to try to unravel the events that led to the overthrow of the Hawaiian monarchy.
Yeah.
It's a tale of political intrigue,
Mm.
cultural clashes,
Right.
and just the raw pursuit of power.
Yeah. What's fascinating about this story is how all these different events that seem
Right.
unrelated at first glance
Yeah.
ultimately led to this like dramatic turning point.
Yeah.
From Captain Cook's arrival
Mm-hmm.
to the booming sugar industry.
Right.
We'll see how global forces can just drastically reshape the destiny of a nation.
Yeah, it's really a domino effect.
Yeah.
But before we get to the overthrow itself, we need to understand how Hawaii
Right.
became entangled with the West in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, our story begins in 1778 with the arrival of Captain James Cook,
Right.
a British explorer who at first was welcomed by the Hawaiians.
Yes. Initially, there was this like exchange of goods and cultural practices.
Mm-hmm.
The Hawaiians saw these newcomers as something novel. They
Right.
even extended, hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
However, that initial goodwill didn't last long.
Things started to unravel pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
I read that both sides became suspicious of each other,
Mhm.
leading to, theft and conflict.
Okay.
It's a stark reminder that first impressions
Right.
can be deceiving.
Absolutely. And the situation escalated tragically when Captain Cook attempted to kidnap the Hawaiian king, Kalaniʻu,
Right.
after a disagreement over a stolen boat.
Okay.
This clash ultimately resulted in Cook's death
Oh, wow.
at the hands of the Hawaiians.
What a tragic end.
Yeah.
And a sign of the growing tension
Right.
between two vastly different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
But this was just the beginning of Western influence in Hawaii. Following Cook's arrival, a new wave of visitors arrived on the islands, Christian missionaries.
Right.
They brought with them not just their faith, but also
Mhm.
Western education and ideas,
Right.
which would significantly reshape Hawaiian society.
And it's important to understand that these missionaries weren't just passive observers.
Right.
They actively advocated for a constitutional monarchy in Hawaii
Okay.
and played a significant role in educating Hawaiian royalty,
Interesting.
including the future Queen Liliuokalani.
Okay.
Their influence subtly shifted the power dynamics within the Hawaiian kingdom.
So in a sense, they were shaping the very future of Hawaii,
Yeah.
even as they sought to convert the population to Christianity.
Right.
And this brings us to another pivotal event,
Mhm.
the rise of the sugar industry.
Yeah.
In the 19th century,
Right.
the lure of profit attracted American businessmen who saw Hawaii
Uh-huh.
as a fertile ground for their ambitions.
Yeah, the sugar industry brought with it rapid economic growth, transforming the landscape of Hawaii literally and figuratively,
Mm-hmm.
but it also had a darker side.
Right.
These businessmen amassed considerable economic power,
Yeah.
and with it, political influence.
Yeah.
They started pushing for policies that favored their interests,
Yeah.
often at the expense of native Hawaiians.
And this power grab eventually culminated in what's known as the Bayonet Constitution
Right.
in 1887.
Yeah,
Can you believe that King Kalakaua was essentially forced to sign
I know, it's crazy.
this document at gunpoint?
At gunpoint.
The very name Bayonet Constitution speaks volumes
Yeah.
about the coercion involved.
The Bayonet Constitution was a strategic maneuver by these businessmen
Right.
to consolidate their control.
Yeah.
It stripped many Native Hawaiians of their voting rights,
No.
effectively transferring power to the wealthy elite, primarily of American descent.
Right.
It was a blatant power grab, and it ignited widespread outrage among Native Hawaiians.
And that outrage led to resistance. Right.
Exactly.
I read about Robert Wilcox, a fascinating figure who led several rebellions
Oh, yeah.
against the Bayonet Constitution.
He was a fascinating guy.
He was actually educated in Italy thanks to King Kalakaua.
Yeah.
Talk about a twist of fate.
Wilcox embodies the complexities of this era.
Yeah.
A man of mixed Hawaiian and American descent, educated abroad, yet deeply committed to his homeland
Yeah.
and the rights of his people.
Yeah.
His rebellions, while ultimately unsuccessful, were a testament to the growing resentment
Yeah.
towards foreign influence and the erosion of Hawaiian sovereignty.
A true patriot, fighting for his nation's soul.
Absolutely.
But the struggle was far from over.
Right.
In 1891, King Kalakaua died,
Mhm.
and his sister, Queen Liliuokalani ascended to the throne.
Right.
She inherited a kingdom in turmoil,
Yeah.
facing powerful forces determined to reshape Hawaii's destiny.
Queen Liliuokalani was a strong and visionary leader.
Right.
She saw the damage inflicted by the Bayonet Constitution and was determined to restore power to the Hawaiian monarchy and empower her people.
Right.
But she was up against a formidable adversary, those who saw annexation to the United States as the ultimate prize.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a tricky situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a queen determined to restore her people's power.
Right.
And a group of businessmen eyeing Hawaii for the United States.
Yeah.
It sounds like the stage is set for showdown.
Yeah.
What were these annexationist plans?
Well, they weren't exactly subtle
Right.
about their intentions.
Okay.
Lauren A. Thurston, a prominent lawyer and politician,
Right.
spearheaded the annexationist movement.
Right.
He and his allies believed that Hawaii's strategic location in the
Yes.
Pacific and its economic potential,
Right.
particularly in sugar production,
Right.
made it a prime target for U.S. expansion.
Okay.
They formed the Annexation Club
Right.
and began actively plotting to overthrow the Queen.
It almost sounds like a conspiracy. A group of businessmen just deciding the fate of a nation.
Yeah.
How did they even think they could pull this off?
Well, they had a plan,
Okay.
and it involved exploiting existing tensions and manipulating events to their advantage.
Okay.
Their first move was to establish a committee of safety,
Yeah.
a group that would ostensibly maintain order,
Right.
but was in reality a paramilitary force,
Wow.
stockpiling weapons.
Okay.
They also cultivated a close relationship with John L. Stevens,
Okay.
the U.S. minister to Hawaii,
Right.
who was sympathetic to their cause.
Wait, so they had the U.S. minister on their side.
Yeah.
That seems like a huge advantage. Did the
Yeah.
U.S. government know about this?
Stevens's role is a controversial one.
Okay.
He acted without direct orders from Washington,
Wow.
driven by his own belief in American expansionism
Mm-hmm.
and the perceived threat the Queen posed to U.S. interests.
Right.
He saw an opportunity to advance U.S. influence
Yeah.
in the Pacific,
Okay.
and he took it,
So basically he went rogue.
basically.
What exactly did he do?
Well, Stevens ordered the landing of U.S. Marines
Okay.
from the USS Boston in Honolulu,
Mm-hmm.
claiming it was to protect American lives and property.
Okay.
However,
Yeah.
it was a clear show of force,
Right.
a calculated move to intimidate the Queen and embolden the annexationists.
It's astonishing how they used the U.S. military
Yeah.
to support their scheme.
I know.
It must have put Queen Liliuokalani
Uh-huh.
in an incredibly difficult position.
She was trapped between a rock and a hard place,
Right.
with U.S. Marines on the ground,
Yeah.
the Committee of Safety armed and ready.
Hmm.
The Queen faced an impossible choice:
Right.
resist and risk bloodshed, or yield to protect her people.
What options did she have at this point? Was there
Yeah.
any way she could have fought back?
Realistically, her options were limited.
Yeah.
She was facing superior firepower
Right.
and the backing of a powerful nation.
Yeah.
In a remarkable act of diplomacy and courage,
Okay.
she chose to avoid a violent confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
She issued a statement protesting the overthrow,
Okay.
but yielded her authority under duress,
Wow.
hoping that the U.S. government would ultimately intervene
Okay.
and restore her to power.
So she placed her faith
Yeah,
in the U.S. government,
right.
the very entity that was being used to overthrow her.
Yeah,
It's a heartbreaking situation.
yeah.
What was the U.S. response to all of this?
Well, here's where the story takes another unexpected turn.
Okay.
President Grover Cleveland,
Mm-hmm.
a Democrat who had just taken office,
Okay.
was appalled by the events in Hawaii.
Okay.
He saw the overthrow
Yeah.
as an illegal act of aggression,
Okay.
a blatant violation of international law.
So there was hope for the Queen.
Yeah.
The U.S. government wasn't going to just stand by
Right.
and let this injustice happen.
Well, Cleveland was determined to set things right.
Right.
He withdrew the annexation treaty
Mm-hmm.
that had been submitted by the previous administration
Okay.
and launched an investigation into the events surrounding the overthrow.
Wow.
He even went so far as to publicly denounce the actions of the annexationists and Stevens.
It sounds like he was genuinely trying to restore the Queen to her rightful place.
Yeah.
Did he succeed?
Well, it wasn't that simple.
Okay.
While Cleveland was sympathetic to the Queen,
Mm-hmm.
he was also a pragmatist.
Right.
He was concerned about the potential for violence
Okay.
if he attempted to reinstate her by force.
Yeah.
He also faced fierce opposition
Okay.
from pro-annexation forces in Congress,
Right.
who argued that Hawaii was strategically vital to
Mhm.
American interests.
So he was caught in a political battle
Yeah,
with the fate of Hawaii hanging in the balance.
right.
What happened next?
Right.
What did Cleveland do? So Cleveland was in a tough spot, wanting to do right by the Queen, but also facing political realities. What happened next? Did he find a way to resolve this situation?
Unfortunately, the situation didn't have like a clean resolution.
Right.
Cleveland found himself kind of forced to compromise.
Right.
He formally recognized the provisional government in Hawaii, but refused to endorse annexation.
Right.
His hope was that by stalling, he could allow the Hawaiian people
Yeah.
to decide their own fate.
It seems like a well-intentioned,
Yeah,
if ultimately flawed, plan.
right.
I guess the annexationists didn't just sit around and wait, did they?
No, they continued to push for annexation,
Yeah.
and the political climate in the United States was shifting in their favor.
Yeah.
The late 19th century was a period of growing American imperialism,
Right.
with the U.S. expanding its influence abroad. The Spanish-American War in 1898 further solidified the strategic importance of Hawaii as a naval base and coaling station
Okay.
in the Pacific.
So external pressures like the war played role as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The Spanish-American War gave pro-annexation forces the leverage they needed.
Right. They argued that acquiring Hawaii was essential
Yeah.
for national security and projecting American power
Yeah.
in the Pacific.
Okay.
By this point, Cleveland was out of office,
Right.
and his successor, William McKinley, was more receptive to annexation.
So despite Cleveland's efforts, Hawaii was annexed in 1898.
Right.
It's a tragic end to a story that began with hopes of restoring a queen to power.
Yeah.
What were the long-term ramifications for Hawaii? Did becoming a U.S. territory ultimately benefit the islands?
That's a complex question with no easy answers.
Right.
Annexation brought significant economic development and infrastructure improvements to Hawaii.
Yeah.
The sugar industry flourished, and tourism eventually became a major industry.
Right.
However, this development came at a cost.
What kind of cost?
Well, the annexation led to the dispossession of native Hawaiians from their lands.
Right.
Plantation agriculture, dominated by American-owned businesses, transformed the landscape.
Yeah. Often with little regard for the traditional practices of land stewardship.
Okay.
The influx of foreign laborers
Right.
further altered the demographics of the islands,
Yeah.
creating social and cultural tensions.
So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Economic progress for some,
Right.
but dispossession and cultural disruption for others, particularly native Hawaiians.
Yeah.
Did the fight for Hawaiian sovereignty end with annexation?
Not at all.
Okay.
The spirit of resistance never died out. The movement for Hawaiian sovereignty has continued through the 20th century and into the present day.
Yeah.
There are ongoing efforts to reclaim lost lands,
Right.
revitalize Hawaiian language and culture, and gain greater self-determination.
It's a reminder that history isn't just a collection of events in the past.
Right.
It shapes the present and continues to influence the future.
Yeah.
The overthrow of the Hawaiian kingdom raises important questions about colonialism,
Yeah.
the use of military force, and the rights of indigenous peoples.
It also reminds us of the importance of understanding history from multiple perspectives. The story of Hawaii is often told from the perspective of the victors, the annexationists who succeeded in their aims.
Right.
But it's crucial to also consider the perspectives of native Hawaiians who lost their sovereignty and continue to fight for recognition and justice.
Yeah, I think what strikes me most about this story is the resilience of the Hawaiian people. Despite facing incredible adversity,
Right.
they have never given up the fight for their culture,
Yeah.
their identity,
Right.
and their right to self-determination.
Their story is an inspiration and a reminder that the quest for justice is an ongoing process.
Right.
It requires understanding the past, confronting uncomfortable truths, and working towards a more equitable future.
What resonates most with you about this story? Is it the bravery of Queen Liliuokalani,
Yeah.
the strategic maneuvering of the annexationists, or the enduring spirit of the Hawaiian people?
This deep dive into Hawaiian history is a testament to the complexities of historical events
Yeah.
and the lasting impacts of choices made generations ago.
Right.
We encourage you to explore further, to research the perspectives of both those who supported and opposed the overthrow, and to consider the legacy of this event in shaping the Hawaii we know today.
And remember, this is just one story from the vast tapestry of history.
Right.
We'll be back with more deep dives,
Yeah.
exploring different facets of the past, its connections to the present,
Right.
and its implications for the future.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out.